The buyers are waiting. But do you know who they are, where they are, or how to find them? In this installment, I'll show you how easy it is to locate markets for photos in your own specialty or specialties and find the photo guidelines for each market. I'll use as an example finding markets for photos of children, and keep in mind that the basic elements apply to searching for markets in any specialty. So let's get down to work and find you photo buyers for your children photos. Most everyone I'm in contact with here at PhotoSource International mentions they're fond of taking pictures of children. As you can imagine, there's a glut on the market of kid pictures, so the law of supply and demand comes in. Photographers, most of them give up quickly. But there is a way of busting through those barriers and crowds of photographers with very good children photos. So come along with me and I'll show you. We're going to aim for children's magazines here in the USA, most national magazines. Later on you can narrow your search to regional or state publications or foreign magazines, or all three of them. You'll use this same system that I'm about to explain to you once you begin to spread your wings. First, I want you to go over to your search engine. I use Google, and in the search bar, I want you to type Magazine Publisher Children. That's Magazine Publisher Children. Okay, you have Magazine Publisher Children, 3 words up on the search bar. And right at the top we see Colossal Directory of Children's Publishers. Well, that looks interesting. Maybe we'll find something very quickly there. And we click on that and see a few magazines that we're familiar with. I see Cobblestone Publishing there. That's about a dozen magazines that we deal with here in our photo letter. And they usually pay $25 to $75 for a photo in their magazines. Down at the bottom here we see Highlights, Magazine Publisher Submission Guidelines. Let's click on that. I know that's one when we would take our kids to the dentist. That would always be available for all of us to read, and they do use a few photographs. In the upper right you see a search bar, so let's just type in photo guidelines, see what happens. And sure enough, photo guidelines comes up, and the very top of the paragraph it says contributor guidelines, photographs. So let's click on that. And there we have it, contributor guidelines. And then about the 7th paragraph down it says we accept photographs as 35mm slides or larger, transparencies, high quality prints, and in digital format at 300 dpi or greater. And you might be wondering about those 35mm slides. Very few publishers actually nowadays accept those. It's mostly all in digital. Actually, very few even accept prints. But the webmaster is a little untidy in keeping everything up to date. Well, let's see. Why don't we go see another publisher using Google again, if you'll get back to the original Google search site. Okay, here we are. I've heard that sometimes if you're looking for a pair of scissors and you just type in scissors.com, that you can find things easily that way. So let's just type in magazine.com and see what comes up. Yep, sure enough, here's a list, and I think on the left-hand side over here, it says children. It's about the 4th one down, and we'll quickly get off the entertainment and get into the children area, and sure enough, a magazine called Family Fun. It's a rather popular magazine, and in Google now, let's find out in their search bar what the guidelines are then for Family Fun. And we'll type in Family Fun Magazine Guidelines. Okay, and about the second one down there you can see about Family Fun Magazine subscriptions and books. And they mention Photographers Guidelines. So we'll click on that, and there's the FAQs, and we'll scroll down a couple pages here near the bottom, and it says, as one of the questions, I am interested in supplying photographs for Family Fun Magazine. How should I proceed? And then it tells you to download the Photographer's Guidelines. So we'll click on that and see what happens here. And sure enough, here comes a PDF you can print out, reminding you that Family Fun was started in 1991 and #1 magazine for families with children ages 3 to 12, and with more than 2 million subscribers. So they'll be paying around $150 to $300 if they use one of your pictures. That would be inside editorial use, and that's usually about 1/4 of a page. Well, if you're just starting out, of course, you just like in baseball, you want to make your mistakes in the minor leagues and then work your way up to the big time, like Family Fun and highlights. Let's go into Google, and this time when you're looking for things, believe it or not, you can look for them with image search on Google. So in image search on Google, type in Children's Magazine. Make it possessive with apostrophe S. And well, you see even in the far right-hand corner at the top, there's even a magazine for shopping. Has to do with children, so it's not necessarily you're looking to sell photographs to magazines for children only, but maybe the parents who are out shopping for their children. Here's one down in the second row, far right. It's called Wee Ones Magazine. Oh, by the way, right below that and to the right looks like there's a French magazine listed there. So looking for a search on Google doesn't necessarily have to be a text search. You can see the benefits of making an image search. So let's click on Wee Ones Magazine, and sure enough, there comes a picture of a recent cover, and it's a photograph. You'll see that you're up against odds with the illustrators in children's magazines so often, but as you can see, they do use photographs. And that one's on the cover there. So let's switch over then to get some information about this magazine. So we'll switch over to the regular Google web search. And in the web search for these 4 words, Wee Ones Children's Magazine. And when that comes up, let's see, it's well, it's the first one that comes up. So we search for kidmagazinewriters.com, and the magazine editor is saying the best way to break into our magazines, you'll see that as the 3rd paragraph down, is to read and follow our guidelines. So we'll switch on that and see what the guidelines talk about. And there, apparently, the editor is writing her guidelines in Kid Magazine Writers, apparently a market guide. And she, on a Q&A basis, answers the questions we're looking for, and it looks like this is actually an online magazine. Well, as I mentioned before, get your work done first in the minor leagues if you care to make a few mistakes. Not too many people are going to see them, but you'll sure learn a lot when you're ready to jump to the bigger magazines. So that's the basic area for children photographs, and you can spend a whole weekend or maybe a week building a market list. Now let's talk a little bit about books here. I can't be too encouraging about books. As I mentioned before, just about everyone has children's pictures, so there's a glut on the market. An editor could open the window of his or her office and shout out, "Hey, does anyone have any children's pictures, photographs that I can use?" And naturally 50,000 people will come running down the street with their slides and digital cameras and prints of children's. So it's kind of difficult. You've got to have, well, let me say it this way. If you're a name in the industry, you'll probably get your foot in the door. But I'll give you a few clues on what to do and what not to do. One thing is, don't do what we did with the magazines, is click on what's called that colossal directory of children's publishers. For book publishers, that one was for magazines. Yes, that was very helpful. But for book publishers, mainly you'll find the vanity publishers where actually what they're talking about is you want to publish a book of your children's pictures, and we'll print them for you or sell you products on how to get your children's books published. Well, you want to avoid that. What you're doing is trying to get someone to pay you for your excellent pictures of children. But there's some things you can do. Now you might wait until you graduate to a certain level where you can spend time on, for example, becoming a member, an email member of what's called Publisher's Lunch. That's where it's at www.publisherslunch.com. Gives you a rundown on book deals happening, and they mention, for example, editors or the agents that are making deals on certain books that are about to be published. Well, guess what? They're going to need some photographs of children's if that is the topic of the book. There's also the magazine publishersweekly.com, and it's pretty pricey weekly magazine, and you can go to your local library, no doubt, and read it there. And be sure to read books, go into the bookstores, of course, and go to the children's section, and then see who the publishers are. Who are these people? And very often you'll get the publisher's name and publisher's site, and you'll find a link to submission guidelines in some cases in some of those books, or at least a mailing address or an email address. And for example, Writer's Digest, I've had 5-6 books published at Writer's Digest. You can look that one up. It's at fnwpublishing.com, and they're down in Cincinnati. And then finally, you want to actually, a good way to find who's publishing children's books is go into amazon.com. And the textbook publishers, believe it or not, are ones that are just gobbling up children's pictures. But again, it's the good old boys that are getting the jobs, but they had to get their foot in the door at some time. So I do encourage you, if you feel you're up to par with your children's photographs, go for it. Go into Amazon.com. As you know, they have a lot of items on their plate, and type in books, and then under books, type in new and used textbooks. That they'll give you a choice to go in there, and then there is a search bar next to it. Type in kindergarten. I believe it's spelled K-I-N-D. No, it's Kintergarten. But Google and Amazon and large companies like that are very good about correcting your spelling. You're not a writer, you're a photographer. And hey, look at all these photographs that are being used in kindergarten textbooks. Textbooks in the sense that they are learning books. And using the same technique, then go back and type in grade school in the blank spot. And again, you're getting a larger age group, but maybe there are teenagers in your family that you're photographing, or the neighbors or relatives. And then do the same for middle school. That's an excellent way of finding who the publishers are, who your target markets are. So, well, as you can see, I've given you some lessons on being a library scientist. You'll probably discover methods on your own too, and be sure to share them with us. So you'll find in the next installment, number 16, that some of the categories of stock photography, such as scenics and families and even horses, will be a lot easier to research because there are not as many people photographing in that area. So now that you've learned about research for the topic of children is under your belt, the rest is downhill.